when I watch Charles and Shaq on their NBA show, and you can see they don't want to let it go. They can't. They can be on the court mentally, and they can watch this great game happening. But it's a beautiful thing. You never want to let it go. And as I said, as long as you can do the job, and you can do the job well, then take it as it comes. Live every day to the full, and get as much out of it as you can.
I love that beard. When I grow up, I want to get a beard just like that.
Hey, never grow up, right? That's my number one philosophy in life. Never grow up. Always be a kid inside, especially in sports.
Yes.
I loved watching I had a mad day yesterday, but I caught a bit of the World Series game. And when Houston, right? When Houston, was it Houston? Yes. It was Houston that won. And all those guys.
Atlanta won.
Atlanta. What are we doing? I had a crazy day yesterday. I was doing a million things. When Atlanta won for the first time since 95.
I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all the guys are running around and jumping up and down like kids, because that's the great thing about sport. That inner child is such an important part of this great life that we live. And it's the same being a musician.
Yes.
50 years of Judas Priest, and I'm still a big kid inside. I still get the biggest rush when I run out on stage with the rest of the guys and we start to play. We're playing, kids play, and it's a blessing. It's an absolute blessing.
You stole my question, Rob. That I was going to say, what's the difference between you going out in front of 10,000 people or a Major League Baseball player swinging the bat in front of a sold out crowd? Aren't we all kids to a degree? A lot of us have the ability to, in our profession, to still be kids.
Yeah, I think that's so important. When you lose that, it's like Peter Pan. If you're able to channel that essence of that feeling that you had as a kid, and the world was this big, open, beautiful place, and you were innocent in a sense, and you just loved living life. You loved being with your friends, your school friends, whatever. And it's the same in professional sports. I'm sure when the Suns put their kit on, or the Cardinals put their kit on, that they're going ready to get to work. But the essence of work, as we've talked about many times, is this team spirit, and that team spirit of channeling that inner kid is important. Yes, what we do is deadly serious, but you've got to balance that up with absolutely being in a beautiful place. It's got to be the best feeling in the world to be in professional sports, because a lot of these great players, they live and breathe sports from when they're children. They go to college, they get drafted, and then they're suddenly a professional athlete, and they're living their dream. And it's very much the same spirit in rock and roll, no matter what you call it, heavy metal or rock and roll, all kind of music. Mm-hmm. You're in this beautiful opportunity, and it's the best feeling in the world.
In music, what is the equivalent of a sports championship? I mean, is it your next album? I mean, how do you know that's the championship when you're going to do another one? What is that equivalent like in music?
It's very similar again, because you feel internally is you're only as good as your last moment. So if you win that, if the Suns win or the Cards win, that was your great moment. Yeah, maybe the next one you may be in a different place, but you are living from the moment of creativity, and again, we change, don't we? We change in this exercise of making music and making the record. Each record achievement, it's not like getting the Heisman Trophy, but you definitely feel when you're releasing that great the great experience of writing new music for the first time to your fans. It's a win. You feel like a win, and again, that's part of the drive and the motivation behind a lot of musicians.
Let's take kind of your whole life a little bit full circle as we go from your book Confess to now these cocktail books that we have on the table, the 50 years of Judas Priest. And you had the release of Turbo, and you said, I believe it was in Confess, that it wasn't necessarily your best work. That I guess tying it back into a championship, it wasn't necessarily your championship, even though there's some badass tunes on there. But did that come to Jesus meeting with you and your body and your cleanliness, did that help you to make your championship even better?
Cleanliness and Rob Halford.
Isn't she amazing? Isn't she amazing? Well, again, it's like a season. In sports, some of your seasons are not as strong as some of the others, but they're all important. They're all important. They're all valuable. They're all valuable. You always gain knowledge and experience from a loss, no matter what that might be in life. You pull from that. You learn from it. Did we not get to the place because of something that I did? Did we not get to the place because the team didn't really balance and coalesce? Well, all of these great things are equally immersed in music. So this Turbo record, which has now become beloved, because are you going to play Turbo Lover tonight? Because we want to sing I'm Your Turbo. It's great. And here's the thing, again, from your fans' perspective, because we're nothing without our fans. And I'm a rabid sports fan like you guys are, and I'm a rabid music fan like you guys are. And sometimes, is that the record I wanted? Not really. Is that the song I wanted? Not really. But I'm going to stick with you. I'm going to stay with you. And that's another metaphor for sports and music. If your team isn't doing so good, you don't leave them. You stick with them. We're in this together, Win or lose, we're in this together. And so a record like Turbo now has kind of pushed its way from the back to the front of the spotlight, and everybody loves that Turbo moment.
Wow.
Yeah, Rob Halford, I'm going to channel my inner Dwayne Thomas now. Kenny knows who that is.
Holy smokes.
And he mentioned that during the Super Bowl. He was a football player here for the Dallas Cowboys. He mentioned during the Super Bowl, if it's such a great game, why are they going to have one again next year? And I've always wondered about people like you, Judas Priest, are on the stage and people are going bananas. And you're having this massive concert and everything is going wonderful and you're laying it on the line and the music has never been so good. And then you got to turn around and do it tomorrow. Is that ever difficult?
No, and I tell you why it isn't that, man. It's because two performances are never the same. Two football games are never the same. A team that's gone to the Super Bowl and wins and then gets a chance to go to the Super Bowl again and maybe wins again. The purity of it is that, okay, there's all these guys dressed in their kit and there's your team and my team and we're running through the plays and everything else. It's always a little bit different. There's always a new experience coming from the moment. And so it's the same, you get a Grammy. That's just a pinnacle in the music world. You win a Grammy. It's such a feeling of motivation. It's success, it's motivation, it's satisfaction. And you love that. You love that. You can never replicate it two times over. So if you win multiple NBA championships, if you win multiple Super Bowls, they're always a little bit different. And I think that's part of the drive. You can never stop winning. That's the thing. If you can never stop winning.
Is some of that answer sounds like it might be in my next question here. When you started off with Judas Priest and 50 years ago and you guys are touring and so forth, did you ever think that you'd still be banging around on a stage and laying out music and putting people in the aisles with what they're hearing?
It's a beautiful feeling because, most 70-year-old guys are on the golf course or they're on the beach in Florida. it's a privilege. It really is a beautiful place to be at. And again, with success comes, you've got to accept responsibility, and you have to be prepared to give back. You've put a lot of work into what you've done, but again, it's a team spirit. And so this opportunity to keep giving back, whether it's making another record, making another show, the people that have given you this life in music, they deserve that respect. They deserve that that opportunity to see you as many times as you're able to do it at the level of performance that's important. Because again, you know, how long do you know you're going to be in the game for? How long does Tom Brady know he's going to be in the game for? You know, you do it as long as you can do the job well. That's another important factor. But no, Statman, you know, if you'd have said, hey, Rob, at 70, you're going to be making another Judas Priest record, you're going to be back out on the road, touring the world again, I'd have probably given you a smile and maybe a wink, because I love this life. Like sports personalities, we love this life. You know, when I watch Charles and Shaq on their NBA show, and you can see they don't want to let it go. They can't. They can be on the court mentally. They can watch this great game happening. But it's a beautiful thing. You never want to let it go. And as I said, as long as you can do the job, and you can do the job well, then, you know, take it as it comes. Live every day to the full and get as much out of it as you can.
Hold on, let's expand just a little bit on that with Charles and Shaq. If you were to follow any group touring, but you were to do the backstage show, who would you be on stage with giving commentary for the show? Not from Priest, somebody else.
You mean commentary for another band?
Yeah.
I know some. Yeah, that's it. She's got all these great questions today. Well, there's so many, you know. I could go from the Rolling Stones, who are on tour right now, and I've seen the Stones play, and it's just the most remarkable thing to witness, because you're watching history alive. The guys have such a rich history in rock and roll. The great things that they've achieved and they're doing now at their time of life is just incredible, and it's amazing. And so that would be something I'd be on the mic for. And now Mick's moving to the left, and he's moving up to Keith. And are they going to come to blows, or are they going to blow each other a kiss? I don't know. So all that kind of stuff. So the Stones would be there, obviously. More intense bands like my friends from Slipknot, who put on a really heavy, intense, aggressive performance. They're great. They're great guys to watch. And then you get the wonderful, beautiful expressionism of Lady Gaga, because her shows in themselves are just an amazing experience of not only music but art. You know, fashion and dance moves and everything like that. It's an endless opportunity. All musicians, all artists are very much like teams from different leagues, doing different types of things. We're all doing the same, but we're all doing it differently. And that's the other attraction to music. You know, we have a lot of friends in heavy metal who have carved their own niche and their own originality. Much like great sports players develop a certain move. LeBron develops a certain move that only he could do. Jordan could only do the jump, all this kind of stuff. It's magical. And a lot of that happens the same way in music.
We'll get you back to the interview in just a little bit. Have you heard about Lucas Brake Parts Cleaner? Lucas Brake Parts Cleaner is made of the highest quality components, giving you superior performance and leaving no residue. How do you apply this? You apply Lucas Brake Parts Cleaner liberally to the parts that need to be cleaned. You'll eliminate brake fluid, grease, dust, and dirt components. We know a little bit about that here in the desert, I'd say. And basically what that does is that makes you a happy driver, because now your brake noise is gone and your performance has gone up. Boom. All right, let's get back to the interview now. Okay, I know, Kenny, you want to get a question in here, but who would be your co-host on a Lady Gaga backstage show? Anyone from the business?
Is this for Kenny or for me?
That's for you. That's for you, Rob.
No, I'd like Kenny to answer that question, though.
Okay,
Wow, that's a great one. I'd have to have somebody that's equally passionate, and all of my friends in music are passionate to various degrees. Oh, my brain is scrambling. I want to pick a beautiful lady, Nita Strauss right now, Hurricane Nita, who's this phenomenal guitar player for Alice Cooper's band, and who's about to start her own tour in a couple of weeks down in New Orleans. She'd be a great co-host because she has the same fire. She has the same fire. She has the same passion. And I think that's important when you're working with a co-host. They have to be able to be in the same place as yourself mentally and emotionally to give the feedback from the honest place. What about you, Kenny?
Rob, I would go with, you need a straight man in there. And I can't think of, maybe
like to go with your color commentary.
Well, to go with Rob, because my three go-tos would be Ozzy, Lemmy, and Rob Halford. Now, who's going to be the straight man amongst you guys?
They'd all go nuts.
Who would it be? Bruce Dickinson? Who would be the guy, the quarterback of the group? Who could be that guy?
That would be you, Kenny.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think Kenny would have a real tough job holding that team together. That would be a challenge for sure.
Oh, Rob Halford joining us here in the Freak Nation Lucas Oil Studios, and Rob, can we get some updates from you with Richie Faulkner, how he's doing, when we might see you guys back on the road with him, just the latest with his situation?
Thank you for asking. He's doing remarkably well. He saw his doctors recently again, who performed this miracle of surgery, and they're over the moon in the way that he's repairing and healing. It was an unbelievable night. You know, we had this fantastic show at the Louder Than Life Festival up in Kentucky, and the show was going great. And then, you know, we came off stage. Where's Richie? The paramedics are looking after him. Something's happening. Without going into too much lengthy detail, less than an hour later, he was in almost 11 hours of heart surgery. Oh. I tell you what's a miracle about that. The Lord intervened because it's all about timing. He was barely 10 minutes away from one of the greatest heart surgeons in the world, great team of people. So they got in there quickly. When I was talking to him, he was getting undressed and dressed to go to the hospital. Oh. And at that time, his aorta had ruptured and his chest was filling with blood. But his doctor said he was so high on the adrenaline, and this happens in sports. Guys play with a broken whatever, you know, your adrenaline is pushing you through. So he got to the hospital, and then this incredible dream team of surgeons saved his life. It is an absolute miracle, because you know what it's like, again, with guys, I suppose everybody to a certain extent, but with guys, I'll be out, because we were going to go to Denver that night. We were going to take the plane and fly to Denver. Oh, you know, yeah, he could have said, let's figure this out when we're getting into Denver. What would have happened if we'd have made that move? He followed the advice. Always listen to these professionals, especially in health. Listen to them. Something that is so valuable. Listen to the experts, because they know the best solutions. So thank you. He's doing good. He's doing well. Those dates that we had to shuffle around are being shuffled around as we speak, and we should be making an announcement fairly soon about the rescheduling of the dates. And we thank our fans for being so patient for us. Everybody's rooting for Richie around the world. There's been a lot of love and prayers for this guy, and it's working out great.
Rob Halford, you could live anywhere in the world. You're from the UK, you live in Arizona. There's a question that, one of the great questions in 21 years of doing Speed Freaks, we talked to someone who traveled, Lemmy Kilmister, who had traveled here in the United States, he traveled everywhere for a lot of years. You've been touring in the United States for a lot of years, and the United States right now is going through some changes. Who knows if they're good or bad, but there's some changes. What do you see as an observer when you travel in America and notice that this is a different country, or this is the same country that I first saw many years ago?
Well, I'm gonna speak with honesty, like I always do. I'm not an American citizen. I've lived in America for many years, and I have a home here in Phoenix since the '80s. I travel all over the world. My birthplace is the UK, so that will always be home. But America is my home from home. I love this country with a great passion. I saw what happened last night in Virginia, and it saddens me to think that some of those votes were made on issues that really it shocks me. It shocks me that these kinds of things are still in the forefront of politics. But that's humanity. You know, I've lived through Kennedy and Nixon and Clinton and Barack and now Joe and other presidents that I can't remember. But I've lived through them all, and I see repetition. I see repetition in a lot of instances in politics. But the great beacon of democracy of America, the first time I ever saw the Statue of Liberty when I came to America for the first time, it really choked me up, because that beautiful statue, in essence, what it still stands for is something that I, as a Brit, still firmly believe in. Liberty and justice and equality for all, I think, are some of the things. And we still don't have equality to the level that it should be, especially for people like me with my sexual identity. Great advances have been made. But again, you know, you can't let anger, you can't let frustration, you can't let bitterness enter your heart in a poisonous way. You've got to take those emotions and grasp onto them and make good come from them. Whether you're holding a placard and speaking your mind in a free democratic way, whether or not people disagree with you is mute. As long as you have the opportunity to do that, that's absolutely vital. And so for me, America is still, you know, one of the greatest countries in the world in that essence. And I've traveled all over America, all over this great nation. In the early days when Priest came here in the 70s, we went everywhere in the United States. So when we do our tours now, we have to go from the upper East Coast to Alaska, all the way down to San Diego, and then across down to Miami, every place in between. And I've met every kind of American. And regardless of their politics or whatever, their religious beliefs or whatever that might be that makes them who they are, they're all Americans that love America, much as I love my country in the UK. So, yeah, I've had the great privilege and joy to travel all over the world, but I still get a rush when the plane lands at Sky Harbor and I see Camelback Mountain and the desert and my cactus, you know, and all that kind of stuff. I love America with a great passion, and so that's just a place where I'm at now as a 70-year-old heavy metal maniac. I feel good. I still get angry with things that I see and read, particularly in the political arena. But as I said, you know, you channel that and you try and utilize it for the greater good, and I think that's the best way to be yourself.
Wow, Rob Halford joining us here in the Freak Nation and celebrating 50 years of Judas Priest. I can't put together 21 years of Speed Freaks without wanting to jump off the freaking roof with pictures and videos and audio. How in the hell did you put together 50 years of music, photos, videos, unreleased this, unreleased live that? How did you go through the annals of Priest history to knock this out for 50 years, Rob Halford?
Well, it took 50 years to get there, and of course we had a wonderful team of people in the UK and here in America. A lot of fantastic people behind the scenes, because we're always working as a band. We're either writing or we're touring, or we're doing other production, whatever it might be. So this again was another great team effort. What we wanted to try and do incorporate some elements in this 50th box set that you don't ordinarily get. And what I mean by that is we went through the vaults. We went deep into the vaults to find some of these tracks, these live tracks. So, for example, at the Mod Club in New York, when I met Andy Warhol, I've told you this story, right, guys?
I found a picture of you and Andy. And you said, take that off the screen, bro.
Yeah, I know that one. I know that T-shirt. We handcuffed each other. Right. And then later on, Andy and I went to Studio 54. What a crazy night that was. But we found some music from that show at the Mod Club, which was magical. So these live elements, again, it's like watching old footage of the Phoenix Suns with Charles and Thunder Dan. You know, it's memory. It's memory. We all thrive on remembering great moments, and so the great moments in this box set are the live songs that we've got from as far back as the 70s. So that's kind of a tangible part of this kind of metal museum, because when you go and see Judas Priest, if you're hardcore and you've been with us for a long time, when we break out Living After Midnight, suddenly it's 1980 all over again, you know, and that's the greatest feeling in the world. When you guys go and see your favorite musicians at a show and they play that song when you were at high school, you know, when you had your first car, you know, or when you were on vacation, music triggers these beautiful memories that we all carry. And so that's what we've tried to do with this one element within the box set. And wow, when it was finally delivered to my house, I was in the UK at the time, and the postman's like, take this from me because it weighs about 50 pounds, you know. It's a really, in essence, it's the epitome of heavy metal, because it's a heavy piece of physical life. It's 50 years of life that you can enjoy and explore, because it's going to take a long time to get through it, but our hardcore fans will do that. So we're thrilled. We're absolutely thrilled to be at this special place right now.
But Rob Halford, I looked at the notes on this thing. You've got 13, 13 unreleased CDs?
Right.
Dude, you must live in a studio. 13, that's like 100 songs that haven't been released yet.
These live cuts, especially the unreleased live moments, they're really valuable. They're things that we didn't even know we'd got, because we have this trail that we've left behind us for 50 years, Statman, and it's just wow. You mean we've got this track from the Agora Ballroom in 1978? Where do we get this from? And this is a result, again, as I said, of all these beautiful people working behind the scenes to bring these moments into 2021. Yeah. Save everything. That's what I always say about to fellow musicians. Save everything. Can I ask you guys something in terms of memorabilia? What have you got in terms of memorabilia, sports memorabilia, that you really value and you really treasure?
Ooh. Okay. When you said value or treasure, that kind of changed my answer, because I do have every single concert ticket from the beginning to now. And I also have every single racing ticket, any motorsport event that I went to, and or credential. So yeah, but do I value those the most, or do I value something that I spent my hard-earned money on autograph-wise? I don't know. But yeah, it's either something autographed. How
about like a football or a shirt or something like that?
Yeah, I know.
Baseball.
I know exactly. I wish I could run and get it right now. They've got a jacket that we were given by 21 years ago by one of the first investors in the Speed Freaks. And leather jacket, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever received from anybody. And it's so nice, I'm afraid to wear it most places I go. Somebody might take me out of it, you know? So yeah, I've got that jacket. And every time I open the closet door to get something to go outside, I see it there and a little tear, because the memories that are there mean so much to me. Yeah.
Rob, I've got paraphernalia that's autographed by Texas Longhorns national championship team. But but that you just struck on something there. I've got the ticket stub that I witnessed the first time the Dallas Mavericks beat the Boston Celtics in Reunion Arena with my dad, who was a huge Celtics fan. And Larry Bird was on his ass half the time, knocking down threes. And it was an incredible game. But the fact that I was there with my dad and he was watching me get excited, and I was excited that he was excited for the Mavericks and not cheering for the Celtics, just having that ticket stub really has no meaning other than, spending a winning moment with my dad, whose legendary team got their ass handed to him by the Mavericks. That's my go-to right now.
That's beautiful, Kenny. And I'll tell you why you brought your dad into that question. Yeah. Because, so many of us have memories as kids of going with their dad. My dad used to take me to see my local football team, the Saddlers, in Walsall. And those memories, look at Kenny. Kenny's living that moment now. He's thinking about his dad, That's just a beautiful memory. And it's related to your passion in sports. So, that's great.
What would bring a tear, though? What would bring a tear to your eye? Like Statman just alluded to, is this thing, seeing that jacket. And I know we don't have much time left, but what would bring a tear to Rob Halford's eye? Well,
this is going to sound a little bit strange, because you know me, I'm a strange guy, but it's strangeness in the purest sense, and it's love in one of the purest senses. When Lemmy passed away, and I had this beautiful opportunity to speak at his memorial. We had a great get together, all of us musicians from all over the world. We met in Hollywood, and we talked about Lemmy and his great life and the things that he's left us. And then not too far back, I get something in the mail from the Lemmy people, Lemmy's office, his manager and everybody still worked tirelessly to keep his name with us, as it always will be. They sent me, I wish I could run out and get it. It's a bullet. It's a bullet with some of Lemmy's ashes inside of it.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Now, okay, everybody's going, a bullet, Lemmy's ashes. This is nuts. This is the kind of thing that Lemmy would have loved to have done, And whatever you choose, however you choose to interpret what I've just said, that's entirely up to you. But to be even thought of, to be brought into this small circle of friends where you actually own a little bit of Lemmy's ashes and you wear it around your neck on a pendant, and he's close to your heart in the truest sense, in the terms of his mortal remains. That's just mind-blowingly powerful.
Yeah.
To use an object like that to carry his remains is just so Lemmy. It's provocative. It makes you think. It makes you talk. But as far as having a beautiful part of Lemmy physically with me right now in my house, that's just magical. And I'll just balance that up if that's the right thing to do.
Sure.
Another one of my late great friends, Ronnie James Dio, was a great fan of dragons, because dragons are these mythical beasts that are full of power and determination and resilience and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't know this, but Wendy Dio, Ronnie's wife, she tells me that he used to collect these dragons, these different sculptures and different pieces of art. So she sent me, again in the post, one of these little dragons that Lemmy had in his, Ronnie had in his house. So I've got a couple of these objects from my beautiful friends that I see every day, and they just reinforce my love for both of these incredibly talented musicians whose music will live with us forever.
Rob, Zoom is about to cut us off in a minute and 20 seconds. Wow. Damn it, buddy.
We fly. We fly. It's been a blast.
Yeah,
I love you guys so much. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much.
Likewise.
Speed Freaks, we need you all the time. Let's have another let's get together. Shall we get together in 50
Yeah.
years?
Wait a minute.
Wait,
Wait, what?
100 years of 100 years of Speed Freaks and heavy metal.
I just want to get together with you in person here in the next 6 or 7 months and just have a
We will.
pint or
We
something.
will.
All right.
We'll go and have dinner on
A pint
or
and Kit Kats. Yeah.
yes. Well, yeah, don't forget the Kit Kats.
Yeah. Rob, it's my pleasure, man. Thank you as always. Love you, buddy.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Cash. That's that, man. You guys are beautiful. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Have you
See you,
met?
bud.
So much.
Oh, yeah.